I love the little paper space thing behind you guys.
Our friend Vanna crocheted it. It's made out of yarn.
Holy shit, that's
Yeah,
amazing.
she's a wizard. Oh, I don't want to say witch. That sounds mean. But yeah. You know what I'm talking
Yeah.
about.
Like that's
Okay.
yeah. So uh yeah, I just had a thought bouncing off that whole wizard witch thing. It was like Hermione's like technically like a witch in like the Harry Potter series, so I feel like it's kind of has like a decent meaning. It's just a flip of a coin, really.
Whenever I think of witch, I think of like.
Right.
Well, people who are witches, like who are into that sort of thing and call themselves witches, are like they're like pretty into it. They're
Yeah.
like they fuck with it. So I think like
I
I think
just,
it's fine.
you're
I don't
like,
think Banna's not about that, but
no. But
I think it's fine.
what are you drinking?
I have some Modelo's in front of me today.
All right.
Sick. Well, we do things a little differently around
Yeah,
here.
yeah. I know it's called beers with bands, but yeah, we're going a little crazy today. It is 1 p.m.
Yeah,
here,
1 p.m. where we are. So good timing.
Yeah.
Exactly when we should be drinking.
Dude, I recorded a couple episodes. Oh, I've done a couple episodes with some bands from the UK, and like since we have
Oh
that
wow.
much of a time difference, like for them, like to sit down with them, it's like 6 p.m. like their evening time, but it has to be like 10 or 11 my time. So they're like, "Oh, we feel so bad making you drink at like 10 in the morning." I'm like, "Well, I'm from the Midwest. That's just what we do. Like,
Right?
it's
You're
fine."
doing that anyway.
Uh,
Yeah, dude.
we can swear and stuff, right? Is that okay?
Yeah, you're good.
Sick. Sick.
All right, so what I'll do here is I'll count us in. I don't know if you have anything you want to crack, or if you want to crack that entire bottle, or however you
Oh,
want to do it.
we've all
You
got
got
our
Pepsis,
yeah, we got
mixers.
our
Hell
shit.
yeah.
Uh-huh.
So I'll count us in. We'll crack these, and then I'll do the little intro, bring the three of you in, and we'll just have a good time.
Sounds good, homie.
Sick. All right. Get my nail underneath this. All right. In three, two, one. Welcome to the Beers with Bands podcast with your host, Michael Torres. What is up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of Beers with Bands. This week, I've got another band from California. It's always a special treat, I feel like, when I get a band from, like, the West Coast, just because it's so far and few between that I get to talk to bands from the West Coast, and, like, getting our timings to figure out right. Like, obviously this is a Saturday, it's 3 o'clock my time, 1 o'clock your time. That usually a 1 hour difference isn't too bad, but 2 hours is a lot trickier to plan around. But I'm really stoked on this episode. I'm sitting down with Paper Space. How are you guys doing?
Great, man.
Great.
Thanks for having us.
Dude, of course. You guys got some cool stuff in the works. Some cool stuff that's already come out. Technically, at the time of this recording. So I'm really stoked to talk all about your band and what you have going on. But before we get too far, can you kind of go around and say who you are and what you do in Paper Space?
From left to right. Okay, yeah, my name's Miles, and I play bass guitar, and I also run all our social media stuff.
I'm Kurt. I play guitar and I do all the recording stuff.
My name's Max. I sing, play guitar, and pretty much write the songs
The
with the
brains.
help of these two, of course. But
Okay. Well, like I said, thank you so much for being down. For people that might not have checked out Paper Space before, you guys are like on Bandcamp it's this big rock, but there's like some 70 vibes in there. There's some like jam band vibes, all around, a lot of stuff packed in there that like everyone that listens to music should be able to find something that these guys are doing and enjoy it. I believe from like the Modesto area, if I'm correct, or
yeah,
that
Yes,
might have
sir.
changed.
Nope, that is
Modesto.
accurate still to this day.
Okay. Uh, you guys got some cool stuff going on. Before we get to that, I know for You do have the first LP out there called Split in Half, which is kind of like a collection of songs dating from like 2014 to 2017. Some it sounds like were even prior to that. Like were they all just kind of take me through that story a little bit, just because it's kind of a nice collection of like the early versions of Paperspace, but it's
Yeah.
also, when did Paperspace get together? Because that came out in 2019, and these songs are from 2014 to 2017.
Yeah. Well, we've known. Well, me and Miles are related. We're brothers, so we've grown up together and uh had our musical journey together pretty much. And Miles and I have both known Curtis since childhood. I think I was like 8 or 9 when I met you, or something like that. And yeah, I was in high school. These two were in a band, and I was like, I want to do that. So I picked up guitar. I learned shitty chords, and I started writing songs. And then me and Miles already uh, lived together, so I forced Miles to play bass, and then I roped Curtis into it to play drums, even though he was mostly a guitar player at the time, and we jammed in my garage, and that was 2014. And yeah, the I don't. Do you have anything to add to that, Miles?
This month is like technically 10 years since Paperspace started,
Oh,
and
hell yeah.
yeah, been a wild journey. I mean, like I'm sure we'll get into it over the course of the podcast, just with everything, but like, uh, yeah, we've gone through a lot together, just like the three of us, and specifically with regards to Split in Half. I mean, like, yeah, all of those songs were written, like you said, between 2014 to like 2017, and we started recording it at that time, and then it didn't get done until like maybe like a year or so later. It came out in 2019, but all of the songs on our new record, Deathlike, have existed since like 2019.
Okay.
And so yeah, just like long spans of time for various reasons, as far as like why it takes us so long to do those things.
You'd
But
think there'd be a lot more for 10 years.
yeah, exactly. That's what you would think, but we take forever to do anything, and yeah. But no, I mean, yeah, it's fucking 10 years. It's a big long 10-year journey, and
Yeah.
yeah, big lore, big
Yeah,
lore.
so on Split in Half in particular, some of those songs were written like kind of at the beginning, and then some of them were written like the year that we recorded. And yeah, that one I'm still proud of it for what it is.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not perfect, but you know.
I mean, it's the debut version of yourselves. It's the first things you guys ever put out. Like, you can't. I know, like, I have friends that try and like bury their initial EPs, but at the same time, it's like you have to.
Well,
It's like you got to give it some sort of credit. Let it live a little bit, because like that's the first instance. Like you said, a lot of those songs you picked up a guitar and started writing, and it makes sense as to why it took so long to get there. But it is, like we're kind of joking, 10 years, 2 LPs worth of music. It is a good sign that 2019 to now, this new record has all been new stuff. So I'm sure that I know we'll probably get to it, but I'm sure there's some other stuff in the wheelhouse for future Paperspace that's coming probably a little bit easier now.
for sure.
It's
Yeah.
coming a lot easier. We have
Much easier
cool stuff,
now.
but I just want to put on the record, we do have EPs we've buried.
That's true. The reason we were laughing is
Yeah.
because
Sarcasm.
Yeah,
like 3 months maybe into forming in like 2014, we made a terrible 5-song EP that we put out online, and we're like handing out on like burnt CDs at our first shows. We made a second EP that you would think like a year and a half or so into being a band, it would be better, but it turned out worse.
We have friends that have like 10 copies of those.
Yeah.
floating
And
around.
people still ask us about songs that are on those EPs. Like, why isn't that on streaming anymore? It's like, bro,
the songs
Sorry.
aren't bad, but the recordings are just
Oh,
so
yeah.
no, the songs are great. I mean, the songs are fine. It's just that we didn't know anything.
we were recording guitars into like the cheapest audio interface, just guitar to audio interface, tons of latency, electric drum kit, clipping,
Yeah.
like digital clipping.
We didn't
It
have a
just-
mic drum, so
it
in
sounds
EK,
really bad.
yeah, you
It
can
sounds really bad.
it sucks. We've learned a lot since then, and what I will say is like everything we've done so far, we've recorded ourselves.
yeah.
Specifically Curtis has recorded. He mentioned
Wizard.
guitar, but also on pretty much everything we've done, he's also playing drums. He's also doing keyboard, recording and engineering everything. And like it's same like with our progress just as a band in general. It's been a long process of us learning how to do stuff. And yeah, everything that we've done, you can kind of see the progression of how far we've come as far as like learning and getting better at what we do essentially. Whatever, bro.
You know, and now we're kind of going to start to dive into, you know, at the time of this recording, it's not out yet, but by the time this episode comes out, the record will be out for about 3 weeks, and everyone should have, you know, listened to it a fuck ton times. Called Deathlike. You know, it going from split in half, kind of what you're saying there, Miles, where like you can see your progression. Obviously, I have it in my notes so I don't butcher it. Impression was the first single that dropped from Deathlike. You know, with that being the first single, did you guys take a second to at least like reflect on like, holy shit, like we put out Split in Half, which was just basically like us starting this out, figuring it out, learning everything, to now like putting out Impression, which sounds phenomenal. Like, did you ever take that moment to be like, holy shit, like look at the progress we made in this like 10 years as a band?
I feel like we couldn't stop mentioning it like while we were recording.
It was coming up constantly, like when we said, like, remember when we recorded an
Exactly.
e-kit?
It was a studio bit.
Yeah. Definitely like lots and lots of progress. Yeah. And like Max said, it was just something that definitely kept coming up. We're like, constantly like constantly, you know, one-upping ourselves as far as like what we're doing in our craft and stuff.
For me, the biggest thing is just like we learned how to use our ears, like, you know, dial in an actual tone. Recording is what matters. We've learned so much even since we've recorded this album, but you know, just, you know, using mics the right way, tuning drums.
Yes.
Who knew you could tune drums? Stuff like that. Just, you know, being pretending to be actual musicians. Yeah.
Well, it definitely shows in this whole record. Which, thank you so much for sending it to me ahead of time. It's been great to listen to. Like, you guys are doing a lot of cool stuff on it.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Before we dive into the full, you know, record, obviously there's 2 singles that are out. One that literally just came out yesterday at the time of this recording, which I want to get to here too. But like, was it intentional to do Impression as the first single, as like kind of like this first impression as to like this new version of Paper Space?
No, that's an interesting
Total coincidence. It's funny. We've gotten some feedback like, oh yeah, it definitely made an impression.
Yeah,
but
I feel
no,
like,
that was like totally coincidental.
yeah,
Exactly.
I think honestly, it's just kind of like because we just felt like it was the one of, if not the strongest track. So why not just throw that one out there?
Yeah.
Yeah, like while we were recording it, pretty much we kind of knew in the room like that one's probably gonna be the single.
Yeah.
The like first one that we put out, just because like we were recording it and we were like already pretty like stoked on how it was coming out and stuff. And then by the time it was done and mixed and everything, it was like, okay, yeah, this is the single for sure.
Yeah. Well, I just remember like all the feedback that came out. You know, like we have a lot of mutuals on Twitter, and like, you know, you guys make the post of like, hey, here's Impression from our upcoming album and everything, and then just seeing like all the homies kind of repost it. So you have like Birthday Dad, you have Fresh Finds, you got Super Destroyer over at Lonely Ghost. Like all the homies just like flocked to it in just a great way and just kept pushing it. And the same with like the second single, Plastic Limbs, which literally came out yesterday at the time of this recording, like less than probably 24 hours ago, or around almost 24 hours ago. And even that I feel like has, you know, got a lot of people excited for the rest of this album.
Yeah, dude. The homies that we have on Twitter who have been singing our praises and stuff. It's been like it's been super super fun and cool, and like awesome of them to do that. Like um, Will from Full Blown Meltdown has been a homie, big time supporter. Yeah, Super Destroyer, Western Jaguar has been sick. A bunch of people that I don't know. I couldn't like mention them off the top of my head or whatever. Birthday Dad for sure.
Oh yeah.
And yeah,
Shout
it's
out
been
Alex from Birthday Dad.
shout out Alex from
Yeah.
Birthday Dad. I have to be transparent in saying that I'm playing bass in Birthday Dad now, so I can't say too many good things here. There's a conflict of interest shit, but no,
I
he's
can say
awesome. He's
whatever
always
I
been
want.
but even before that, he's even even before that, he's always been a huge supporter of us. And yeah, all the homies on Twitter blasting the shit out it's been awesome, and we're like super super appreciative of it, especially a being that it's a platform that we had almost no real clout to, so to speak, or following on whatsoever, to now like having people who specifically know us from there sharing our stuff and being super nice. And, yeah, it's been really cool to see the reaction from that community specifically.
Yeah, I would definitely say if it wasn't for that community on Twitter, or X, I guess, I probably would
It's
not
Twitter.
have. Yeah,
Still
it's
Twitter.
I probably wouldn't have my account anymore just because like
Yeah.
it's turned into like this whole like just cesspool basically. But like the DIY community on Twitter is like what is feels like it's keeping it together. Even though obviously there's a whole world outside of us, but it feels like we have such a good community on there that you can't go away from it.
Yeah, sure. Like definitely one of the only reasons that we're even on there for sure. If it weren't for that community, it'd be like fucking there's no reason to be
As
there.
far as that goes, I know Max calls it X. I think he's saving up for a Cybertruck.
Yeah, Max is saving up for a Cybertruck. We didn't want to mention it on the pod because it's controversial.
Yeah, this is all real.
this is all real. It's real.
That's a new tour vehicle, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
dude. Can you
Yeah.
fucking imagine?
Rolling up in the Cybertruck.
That would be tight, actually. It would be so funny. We'd get so much hate, but it would actually be so fucking funny.
That's how we need to push it.
Yeah, definitely. That's what's gonna get us famous. It's the Cybertruck.
And then kind of hopping back into Plastic Limbs, which, you know, the second single, I think I read somewhere that you think it's probably like the best song that Paper Space has ever written.
I mean, those are
to
my
date.
words specifically. I don't know if these guys agree with that. I'm running the social media, so I said that. But I mean, I said personally from my perspective, I think it's our best song just because I think we kind of knocked it out of the park with that one. But I don't know if I necessarily agree with that.
It's great.
Yeah.
It's good. It's a good song.
Yeah.
I like it.
I mean, this is your chance to speak for yourself since, you know, he runs the socials. This is your chance to be like, actually,
No,
I think
yeah, I mean,
this
I
is...
don't let these guys fucking say anything. So
Yeah.
they can say anything they want at this point. They have the platform.
That's one of the stronger tracks for sure, and I
Yeah.
think that hence why it was chosen to be the one of the singles. Definitely.
Yeah.
And then, you know, we get up to October 11th, and the whole record finally comes out. Which I don't have a track time on this record, but it's for an 11-song LP. It's longer than what you would expect in kind of a little bit of a surprising way, and good way. Obviously, you know, you have My Guy, which I think clocks in at about what 7 minutes, if I remember correctly, which I did not see coming. But it was nice because you kind of like just kind of let it sink in the background, and then you kind of come back and you're like, oh, is this song? Oh, I'm still like in it, but like in a good way, not like those moments where it feels like really just drained out and you're just like, oh, this band's still playing this fucking song. Like it at least felt like, oh no, like this song isn't done yet. Like there's a whole other half to go through for it. Like how did that? Like what was the idea? Like playing a 7-minute song nowadays feels kind of strange for a lot of bands. Like, what was the idea behind doing that?
Well, I really like that song. I can't remember how it originally was, but we really wrote that one jam style, and it's definitely listens to Pink Floyd once.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Definitely.
But that's, you know, it's just like Max had a song, and I was like, what if it was Pink Floyd?
Literally that.
Yeah, that really is it. I mean, I had like a song, just like verses and a chorus, and I was like, typically what I do when I have when a situation like that, well, I guess I could segue into a tangent about this. Um, so back in the day, what I used to do was I would write a song and then I would play it on guitar and record it on my phone on like the Notes app, and
Hmm.
then I discovered the wonders of GarageBand, and just to sound like a boomer for a second, it's incredible to me that you can like write songs on a little tablet and listen back to them in real time. It's like magic. And so what I've been doing recently is I'll basically write like half or like 2/3 of a song on GarageBand, show it to these guys, and then we'll jam it and just work out the rest of it together. So like I basically only write like half songs anymore, and the rest of them we just kind of figure out when we're all together.
That's the way to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what happened with that one, but it was more or less just like I didn't even have a demo planned or anything. I was just like, here's the verses, here's the chorus, uh, on my acoustic guitar, and then we kind of just we we decided to become Pink Floyd.
Yeah. A lot of it came together in the studio too.
Yeah,
Just
for
like
sure.
adding the additional instrumentation, like the organ stuff, and telling Curtis to rip a fat solo at the end. It all I mean, like we've been saying it is definitely like Pink Floyd worship for sure. But that one's definitely like I feel like the most ambitious that we've gotten as far as like yeah, writing a 7-minute long opus. We have another song that's on our first record called Team. And it's the same kind of length. I think it's also like 7 minutes long or something.
Also kind of has some Pink Floyd shit going on.
We end up getting into that territory, yeah, here and there.
I just love Pink Floyd.
We do. We fucking love Pink Floyd, dude. Gentle Giant too. Gentle Giant rocks. If you never listen to Gentle Giant, listen to Gentle Giant. They fucking rule. But yeah, and yeah, we've all got we got a bit of a prog soul. In our, I don't know, it doesn't really come through a lot of the time. But I mean, the fact that this whole thing's a fucking concept album and then 7-minute songs that all flow together, it's like, yeah. I don't know where I'm going with this, but
I just want to say, I think the new Opeth comes out on the same day as ours.
really,
Yeah.
dude, new Opeth, fucking rules.
What are we gonna do?
Opeth is sick, bro.
But I loved the moments where you guys kind of have this jam bandness feel in the song, just because it kind of brought me back to the moments where, like, I had some coworkers that were in a jam band, so like I would go watch him and then just kind of like get real drunk at the shows and just vibe out. And like, you know, those moments where like you're at a jam show and like everyone's just friends with everyone in the crowd, whether you know them or not, and you're just like bumping fists, like hell yeah, man, and then you're just kind of vibing with a tall boy, a PBR in your hand. And, you know, that's at least what you should be experiencing.
what it's
But
all
like it brought me back to those moments, and I fucking loved it because you don't see a lot of bands, at least in like the DIY space, that like we're kind of connected to, where everyone's kind of doing this emo revival thing, but you don't really see like kind of what you guys are doing in there. So it was really nice and kind of like refreshing to have it in there.
Thank you.
Dude, yeah, thank you. No, yeah, it's just, you know, comes from where we're at is neither of these guys are really, I like emo music, but neither of these
Yeah,
guys really do. And like, he's the one he's the powerhouse songwriter guy. So
Well,
everything always kind of ends up having like definitely a more like 70s rock kind of
Yeah.
feel, just because that's where he's
I
at
love
musically.
classic rock.
Yeah, he's a classic
But,
rock,
uh,
bad rock head.
I think honestly though, I think it's also just the fact that like the three of us do have very different music tastes, I feel like, but in the areas that they intersect, I feel like really does come out in the stuff that we write. And um yeah, I think that rum's starting to hit me now.
Yeah, I think we're all kind of feeling it a little bit.
Hell yeah. Now with you guys having like this sound, obviously I'm not too familiar with you know, Modesto, California, and like, the scene out there, but is there like kind of like this scene there, or like what's Modesto like for you guys playing music there?
So actually it's kind of funny, we're a Modesto band, but we played a lot in Stockton, California. Like
Hmm.
their yeah, their music scene has been like super welcoming to us. We have a lot of homies there that like uh they get it. Um we played because I feel like when I was going to shows in Modesto before we started the band, it was very like indie, almost like folk oriented. There was a lot of that going on, and then it all kind of like fizzled out. And once we kind of hit the scene, there wasn't really too much of that going on. And then we started playing shows in Stockton. They had a really nice indie scene going on, and then like the dreaded pandemic happened, and then that also kind of fizzled out. So we're kind of like the one indie band still kind of wandering around. There's a couple, but I mean like, um, help me out. What was
Yeah.
Yeah, there's like one outdoor venue, and that's basically it, Modesto right now. But throughout the years, there's been awesome Modesto bands like the Flowers,
Shout out the Flowers.
Bramble
our homies.
Tony, Joseph Walker, the Airlings. Um, I'm forgetting a million of them, but
You got new
it's-
guys coming out now too.
there's a little bit of new stuff.
Yeah, Esex and this band called Dreamer AM.
I
They're
really
cool.
like Druid Oz and the Buzz Monks or something like that.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
forget.
yeah.
They just go by Druid Oz, but it's some stoner metal.
Yeah.
But it's just really random here.
Really
But there's,
random, just a bunch of different shit.
And there's like a total of, Amazon Crimes. they're
Amazon
doing
Crimes,
a lot.
yeah.
They're actually hosting shows. Thank God, you know.
No one else is.
But yeah, Modesto is it's a very barren wasteland. But
Adjacent to us, like the Stockton scene now has an incredible hardcore scene.
yeah, there's a
though.
lot of hardcore happening.
Lots
in the
of
valley.
really good hardcore. Like too many bands for me to name, but
Yeah,
like just
badass.
it is awesome. Like hella kids coming out to shows and pulling up for the Stockton hardcore scene, and it fucking rocks.
But really,
So shout out to Myers, shout out to Wildwood Skate Shop in Lodi, shout out to Seth and Ian. And
if you're a band around here though, you play in a big triangle. It's like Merced to Sacramento to the Bay Area, like Oakland.
literally that.
That's like the
yeah.
triangle. Like every Oakland bands will come play here.
Yeah, and every
blah,
show is
blah.
like a multi-genre show too.
So there's
like
like
a bunch
slowly
of
a
different
triangle
things
between
going
those three cities, sort of forming like a weird, like noise rock indie scene almost. It's cool.
It's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Lots of variety. And even though there's not a whole lot of places to play anymore, still like there is still stuff going on and still happens. Yeah. There's still stuff going on and lots of like variety. No one's really doing the same shit. And it's really cool. Really cool to see. Really unique scene, I think.
Hell yeah. No, that's awesome to hear that at least like there's something going on, whether it's in the Triangle or you guys going up to Stockton. Like, you know, I'm from the Midwest. I don't. Anytime I ever hear Modesto, I just assume like, and don't come at me for this, please. I just assume like kind of more like desertish. Like I know it's kind of like over
That's
to like the
fine.
main side of mountains. At least I imagine there to be kind of
I-
more desertish.
I can't
But-
believe you've heard of Modesto.
Yeah, me neither.
It's mainly probably just from like TV and movies, honestly.
If people have heard of
Uh,
Modesto who aren't from, they know it because George Lucas.
Yeah,
is from
George
Modesto.
Lucas is from Modesto, and Three Dog Night
And
is
Three-
from Modesto.
I think just one of their members actually. I don't know if they're whole band.
and the
yes.
only guy who matters.
The one guy who matters.
so do you guys have like a crazy like George Lucas statue in town or something?
No,
So they do American Graffiti in
Yes.
downtown Modesto, which is like,
Okay.
even though they filmed that in an adjacent town series, it wasn't actually filmed in Modesto or Petaluma, somewhere nearby. They didn't actually film. The movie takes place in Modesto, but they filmed it somewhere else.
Yeah.
But
That'd be it.
every like, I don't even think it's like a scheduled thing. Just whenever the fuck they feel like it, they do like American Graffiti. People bring out their like classic cars.
Yeah, the
and,
classic cars and
hydraulics
lowriders and
stuff,
shit.
Yep.
Yeah.
You fuck with Star Wars?
Yeah, I fucks with Star Wars.
Cool.
Nice.
I felt like it was a test. I had to say yes, right?
I don't really fuck with Star Wars that much, to be honest with you. I think it's like,
I'm about like down the middle. Like I fucks with it enough, and then like it's good enough for me. Like I've watched the originals at least once.
Yeah.
I'm up to date on most of the TV shows except for like the most recent, but I heard that sucks anyways.
Sure.
You know.
The original trilogy's cool. This is just my opinion. This isn't not either of these guys. This is just the original trilogy's cool. The prequels are funny, and then the new trilogy movies I don't really care about, and then
Yeah.
all the TV shows I just haven't seen. So like I don't know. I can't say I'm like really like educated on Star Wars or whatever, despite being from Modesto.
The
Well,
pinnacle of Star Wars.
Yeah, literally.
Well, we just won't send this to George, and it'll be fine.
No, he doesn't have
don't
to
have to worry
know.
about it. Yeah.
I know the guy. You can't send that.
No.
But hopping back into this record, like I said, it's 11 songs. It's got something for everybody. You start off with Plastic Life, and then kind of go right into this whole instrumental. Like you have what I think it's 2 instrumental tracks on this,
Yeah.
or is it?
Yep.
Yeah, it's Waves and then Feelings, wasn't it?
Waves and Walk in the Rain are
Yeah.
the two.
Walk in the Rain. Like which were nice touches to put in there, kind of like break it up. And do that. Like, was there any reason behind just like leaving those as instrumentals rather than like trying to add lyrics to them, or were they just in your minds like just right how they were?
So, well, I don't know if even Miles and Kurt know this, but Walk in the Rain was supposed to be a full song with lyrics and everything, and I just never finished it.
I didn't know that.
And I just decided that the instrumental was good enough to not cut it, but just make it into a instrumental track.
And then Waves, so the song right after Waves that Waves kind of leads into is a song called Falling Sand Game.
Mhm.
And that song was written first. And then live, we kind of started doing Waves as like an intro into Falling Sand Game.
Our drummer who's not here, he
Shout out Stevie.
Yeah, shout out to Stevie. We jammed this the song with him, and Waves was kind of like an impromptu jam that we sort of wrote together, and we just kind of started playing it live, and then it stuck, and then we gave it a name, and then when we recorded it on the album, we decided to not make Waves and Falling Sand just one giant song. We just kind of decided to split them up into 2 tracks because it's a pretty long intro, all things considered. So it works better just as its own track, I feel like, because if you just want to listen to the main song it's attached to, then
Yeah. People are already coming up with ways to like listen to this album, and I always just say skip those ones.
Yeah, they're not important.
But that's cool that it started out as just like an impromptu live intro that just became its own thing and then made it to the record. Like that's a cool way to add something rather than like just putting it in there or anything like that.
it was so masturbatory too, though, because like we decided to do it after practicing it a couple times, and then like at the shows we did it, everybody was like woo when we started ramping up, and I was like, no, the people love it, we gotta keep it. So now we play it at every show, and everybody's just kind of like,
No one gives a fuck anymore.
I'm like, fuck you, you have to listen to it now.
I got bored of it. It's fine.
Too bad.
Now, were there any other songs that kind of like developed, or maybe a song that fully changed from the initial time of going into the studio to the final product? I know you guys kind of recorded it over about a year's time, so I'm sure that was there anything that like drastically changed that we aren't hearing now, or we are hearing because it did change?
Well, I feel like it was very gradual. So just a little kind of backstory just on this album in general. The whole concept of like the songs and everything and getting it started. I started writing these songs in like 2018, 19 thereabout, and it was in kind of like a I wouldn't say we've had several almost like breaking up points, but we weren't really playing shows. It was kind of slow, and so what originally this album was going to be like a solo thing. So I was going to write all these songs and record them to the best of my ability, drop it on Bandcamp or something, and then that happened. But that didn't actually happen. Um, it was basically just like Kurt was in college and Miles was in another band, and what ended up happening was our drummer Stevie joined the project, and I was pretty much just like gonna call it quits with Paperspace and do this thing. But then we started jamming the songs together, me and Miles and Stevie, and then I was like, well, if I'm gonna play these songs live, I'm gonna do them with Miles and Steven, so I might as well not break up Paperspace and just keep it Paperspace. And then once Kurt was done with school, he joined back in the fold, and then Paperspace remained. And so I decided, fuck trying to record them to the best of my shitty ability. Let's refine these songs as best as we can, and then after years of doing that and playing them, and you know, obviously the I'm gonna say this a lot, I guess, but the pandemic kind of put things off course for us, as it did it for a lot of people. So we didn't really get around to recording that final version until the last couple years. So it's just been kind of, it's been, how long ago is 2018? 6 years ago?
Something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. 6 years.
It's just 10.
Yeah,
It's been
10
10 years.
Yeah.
It's just been it's been a very it's been cooking very slow. I guess I can say that.
There's so when what Max is talking about with him like just recording all these songs by himself first, there are like original demo versions of these tracks that exist that aren't out. There's also a demo version of the album that we recorded together in like 2021.
We wasted so much time.
We decided we wanted to, so yeah, I could talk about like we wanted to, these songs have actually kind of gone through a few different iterations, because yeah, there are the original demo versions of that Max just made by himself on GarageBand or whatever, and then
That weren't gonna be the demos.
Right,
They
they were
were
gonna
gonna
be
be
the
the
really?
yeah.
And then and then that gives you an idea about how those were.
Glad the trajectory changed. It's
Yeah.
a blessing.
But then we decided like the songs had changed a lot in the room when we were writing them and jamming them all together. We decided we wanted to try to like demo out the album first before we actually recorded it.
It was
which-
a terrible idea.
It was a terrible idea in retrospect. I don't think anyone should do that. Like I think like
yeah,
it's fine to like make little like demos in the room like on your like voice memo or whatever.
and we're not talking just like it's a whole fully recorded
A fully recorded version of the album.
piece harmonies,
Yes.
keyboards,
Because we
guitar
were just
solos.
because we were
and there's
yeah.
a whole fully mic'd drums, a whole recorded version of the album that'll never see the light of
right
day
because we
it's
were
the
just
demo
trying to
version.
get all the ideas that we had out so that like we knew what we were getting into. In certain ways, I'm glad that we did that because it gave us like the
I was gonna
confidence
ask
to
where's
know.
the Modelos. There we go.
There we go. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
In certain ways, it gave us like the confidence to know what we were going to do, like getting into actually recording the final
like
thing.
figuring out what worked and what didn't, and like what
But
cut out and
yes,
stuff
but
like
in
that,
retrospect, we did waste a lot of time.
yeah, we had like
Uh,
sessions where we'd spend like 6-hour days mixing it. Like,
yeah,
Oh
and
my God.
we didn't need to do that, and like we didn't need to do that. And I would advise like anyone like. I would advise anyone like in a band trying to make a record, like, don't do that. Don't fucking do that. Make little voice demos so you know what you're going to play. Figure it out in the studio in the room because it's going to turn out so much better that way. And
Here's my true advice, and here's what I want to do in the future. What I did with another band recently is demo it and then practice it as a band and then record it live.
record it live.
Record
Yep.
a full band as much as you can.
Yep.
That's
Better.
if you're a rock and roll band. If you're a live rock and roll band.
It's much better that way. We did this when the actual like final version of the album, we did like the normal way, like multi-tracking and stuff, but like yeah, it's so much easier and better to just record everything in the room live. And
yeah.
just talking about the future of what we're going to do next, the next thing that we do is definitely going to just all be recorded in the room live together. It's a lot better and it feels better. And it's like if you're already playing those songs together, you already have a feel for how they feel in the room and they feel good in the room. Capture that feeling in the room. It doesn't, but anyway, yeah, to answer your question, there are like there are early versions of the song that exist, of these songs that exist, that are way different than how they
A
turned out.
whole
Yeah.
other version of the album that sounds
Yeah.
shittier,
Yeah.
and only like a handful of our friends have ever heard.
Actually, if it, some people from our early Twitter following have heard like the demo version of the album that we recorded together. But like,
Don't leak that shit.
yeah, don't leak that shit
We get,
because it sounds terrible. But
we get
yeah,
10,000 Instagram followers. We'll put it out on vinyl.
there you go. Yeah, the
There you
demo
go.
version. Yeah, but yeah,
That sounds
sorry,
like a
that
good
was a
YouTube
huge tangent
resource.
to answer that one question that you had.
No, like I said, I love tangents and see where they go. And if I would have never asked that question, we never would have found out that there's all these different versions of this album that kind of are still out there in existence.
I forgot too.
So everyone listening, do your research, find it, and post it everywhere.
Don't do that. Don't.
It's not that bad.
It's fine. It's just like they're just early versions of the songs. They haven't the demo version that we recorded and like the new version now. The version that's actually going to be coming out is like sounds good and is like actually well recorded and stuff. That version, the songs are pretty much the same. It's just not recorded as well.
If you are in the Bay Area or our area, Jack Shirley Atomic Garden.
Yes, dude. Shout out to Jack.
He's the guy
Shout out to
who,
Jack, dude.
He's the guy who mixed it.
Yeah.
He's done some really awesome albums in the past, and he's who made it sound good.
Jack Shirley recently is known for doing stuff for Awake But Still in Bed and Home Is Where, but
Jack's the man.
prior to that, he is known for Deaf Heaven, Tony Molina, Laura Stevenson. He's Jeff Rosenstock too. He's also done like all of Jeff Rosenstock stuff. And yeah, we're like he's awesome, and he mixed the record and mastered it and made all of our tracks that we recorded in an outdoor shed sound good.
If you like cartoons, he also produced a lot of the music for Craig of the Creek
Yes,
as well.
true. Which Jeff Rosenstock
the man.
composed. He is the
Jack's
man.
the
He
man.
literally is the man. Yes.
Hell yeah. Yeah, definitely no way to. I would have never imagined that you guys recorded most of this in a shed.
Yes.
Like that's amazing. I remember I was sitting down with someone recently, and they're like, "Oh yeah, we like recorded this in our basement," and like I had to take like a second to like think about it because like I'm 31. When my friends were recording music in their basements 10 to 12 years ago, it was literally just like shitty GarageBand recordings, like terrible. Like if someone said like, "Oh, we did this in our basement," you're like, "Oh no, yeah, we could fucking tell." And then they were like, "We did this in our basement," and I'm like, I can't even fucking tell. Like it's crazy how much shit has progressed in just even the last 10 years.
Talk a little bit about Shed Studios.
Yeah, it's absolutely insane. Like what you could get away with just buying stuff at Guitar Center and recording now.
Right.
And we don't have basements over here for the most part. We don't have tornadoes. But so we have sheds instead. I know a few people who've like jam in sheds and stuff like that. But I just have a little shed from Home Depot that, sort of soundproofed it, and we did everything except for drums in there. And we have done drums in there in the past, but we wanted like a big room sound, so we just recorded in like what's essentially a garage.
Okay.
But yeah, it's just if you have SM57s and an interface that's decent, you've got, and then you could just do all the free plugins that make it sound like tape and all that. We're living in an era where you could make the most professional stuff at home with like minimal effort. It's awesome. It's the same as like playing guitar with the what are they called, like the amp simulators and all of that.
Oh yeah.
You can just have every expensive amp
Yeah.
for, if sometimes free, if you just download the right thing. And it's really cool, like what you're saying. I have friends who were recording like this maybe 15 years before us, and like it doesn't sound as good because just technology has become affordable since then.
Yeah.
And it's cool.
And there's just real quick. There's also like just the amount of experience too, because if you're anyone can set up a bunch of mics and record and stuff, and it'll turn out varying degrees of it has potential to turn out varying degrees of okay, but like if you have experience and you've done this enough and you've done enough recording. Like you learn shit just naturally.
I
And you
will
pick up-
say though, in terms of recording, I think Curtis Tier is the man.
Curtis is the man, kind of.
Wizard.
Because like all those tracks from the album, like just Jack mixed them and mastered them, and they sound great because of that for sure. But like we got amazing tracks, and I will say that they are amazing just because of Curtis's expertise.
Right.
He is our literal secret weapon.
Just make sure it sounds good and make sure it's not clipping.
There you go.
Yeah.
Literally that.
Yeah, because like someone can come in and mix and master and like make it final, but like they have to have a good product already to start from. So like, yeah, Curtis, you get your props on this. Like if it wasn't for you getting it to the point where it was, there's no way it would have been mixed and mastered how it came out. Like,
oh, dude, and and not to like stroke our own egos too much, but like we've gotten a lot of compliments just on the production on it in general, and like obviously huge props to Jack for the mix and master because he did a fucking amazing job. But like you said, like if you listen to our old shit from back in the day, because all of that is recorded, mixed, and mastered by us. Also, if you listen to that stuff and then compare it to what we're putting out now with Deathlike, fucking degrees of difference, and it's like night and day, literally.
Also, that was the final gulp of that Modelo. I saw that.
Two have been
Let's go.
finished.
Hell yeah. I just want to say when I'm listening to these mixes, all I'm listening to is the mix, not the song, which sucks. But I'm like, damn, this shit sounds like we could have done better. But that just means we'll do better in the future.
Exactly, yeah. And any like, my whole thing with all of this was like, I knew it wasn't going to be perfect in our eyes. Like we're talking about, how good we think it sounds and all of that stuff. And yeah, I do think it sounds pretty good. But we can't. My thing was like, we can't chase perfection because you're going to just be disappointed. And I think we got something good enough, and we're going to do even better the next time.
I was listening to what's the Plastic Limbs? Is that the one that we just did? Yeah. I was listening to that, and I was like, the snare. I was like, that's what we decided for the snare. But then I was like thinking about it, and I was like, it kind of makes it like if you listen to anything the Smiths ever recorded, such a weird recording sound that's like conventionally not good, but I love it. Yeah. And to me, it's like the snare kind of reminded me of the Smiths, and I was like, I think this just has what like a lot of great indie rock has, which is like unique production, and I think that it just makes it kind of, I don't know, it makes it its own a little bit more.
I will say, and maybe this is just the Captain Morgan talking. No, but for real though, just from this man's perspective, coming from a guy that was going to record these songs in his bedroom and dump them on Bandcamp, I am floored by how the recordings have come out, and especially I mean with the help of me friends here, it's a blessing. I mean, these two can talk all day about how it's not perfect, but I think it sounds fucking great. I'm super happy with it.
As long as Max likes it, that's all that matters.
It just keeps popping in my head, so I'm just gonna interject with it now. I just want to give you a huge shout out. Beers with Bands, this is a very cool thing.
Dude.
People like you are the most important part of any music scene. People who are giving people a platform to speak or just spreading. Yeah, you're the man. It's awesome.
Legit,
like,
dude. No, for real.
No,
without people like you, nobody would ever hear of anything. So it's like you're doing the most important part.
Yes.
That I would never want to do, which is crazy.
Couldn't.
It's cool.
Yep.
I think this is
Yep.
a very cool thing.
Literally, yeah.
I appreciate that so much. Most days I feel like I'm just like I love just talking to people about their shit. Like this, that's the reason this whole podcast started, was because I love talking to my friends and bullshitting with them. And I appreciate the kind words every time anyone gives me props for anything. It's just, I'm also really weird with compliments. Haven't really eaten today, and I decided to drink all these beers. I have family dinner. I have a friend family dinner tonight, so I'm going to eat that. But
this is your pregame.
This is the pregame, and then there's going to be some corn dogs, and then go to eat some fancy food.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah, dude, I planned out my day perfect. But no, I appreciate the kind words. Like this is like my favorite thing to do is just sit down and just like bullshit. Like if I could do this full time and like make money, I would fucking do it. And it's honestly, you say it's because of me that like people are finding out. Like it's because of you guys. Like if there wasn't bands that I enjoyed listening to, I wouldn't sit down with them, and I wouldn't give them the platform to hopefully find other people that like listeners for future albums and stuff like that. So like really, it's the finger points back at you guys. Of like, if it wasn't for you guys, I wouldn't be here right now.
No, you stop.
The pleasure is ours, man. Thank you. Seriously.
Yeah, of course. Uh, before before I go back into what I was like my next question, I want to also point out kind of how we were talking about like basement recordings 10 to 12 years ago and how it is now. One other thing that I really love about the bands that are doing stuff now is they all have basically a Curtis in their band. Like there's all like there you talk to every band and there seems to be someone in the group that's like, oh no, like I record us, we're doing this. Like Red Sun has Trace. Granted, Trace does a lot of people in Oklahoma.
I was just gonna say I listened to your Red Sun video. Yeah, fucking yeah, Trace. Like that. It was literally literally the same thing. They have a Curtis with him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I love all the bands that have Curtises because like yeah, I feel like it's different than like 10 to 12 years ago where bands, if they wanted to record something, they had to immediately drop thousands of dollars to get anything done. Now you're able to, with like we talked about the power of technology and being able to have a little bit more adult money at this point. You can go to Guitar Center, buy whatever you need, record your entire EP at home, maybe send it out to be mixed and mastered or not. That's up to you. But like you can save yourself so many thousands of dollars.
And then return all the gear.
Boom.
No, but I mean it's crazy when you think about like Mac DeMarco and like what like Claro or something. These people who literally just DIY to billionaires. It's awesome.
Yeah.
I think too a lot of bands like we decided very early on, even though our first recordings were trash, we decided very early on that it was important to have recorded music and get it out there because one too many times I've seen, especially in like at the local level, like bands will form, they'll play a bunch of shows and people will really like them and think they're really good, but they never actually like record any music or come out with anything. So we kind of decided to nip that, and basically as soon as we started playing shows, I think even like after our first couple shows we were like, we need something to like hand out so that people can listen to us, and even like our first, like there's a local radio station called KCS.
Shout out 91.9 KCSS.
KCSS. I was making sure I was saying that right. And
Stanislaus County.
Yeah. They would
station.
play our really shitty old EP recordings on the radio.
Hell yeah.
If you have it dialed in your car, you just hear our shit. And
still to this day.
They'll still play them. Yeah. And but I Curtis was obviously like at one point we were all pretty much equals in terms of what we knew about recording, and Curtis is the one who decided to take it very seriously, and forever grateful.
It really started when I started listening to like lo-fi crap, and I was like, I want to get a tape recorder, and then that's when I really started learning. Otherwise it was just so bad.
Real quick, all of us also play in a band called Sloom, in which Curtis is the lead songwriter.
Shout out Sloom.
So listen to Sloom, SLOOME. This is our, and I play bass on that too. But Curtis is the lead songwriter for that, and it rocks. So listen to Sloom too.
Sloom.
Anyway, so what Max was saying too, like, even though like at this point now, like, not that we disown those recordings or whatever, they were a statement of what we were at the time, but like, it meant a lot for us to have something out there for people to listen to early on.
And speaking of earlier, it was brought up advice to bands. I would say that that's good advice. Like, even if you suck at recording,
get a demo out.
Record your music. Get something physically that you can like hand out at shows, even if you don't intend on selling it or whatever, just like something you can give out to people that go to your shows, so like they can fucking toss it in their car and forget about it and find it in a few months and be like, hey, I'm gonna pop this in, whatever, or just something, because it's better than having something recorded, even if it sucks. It's better than having nothing and kind of fizzling out in that way.
100%. Like
I
that's
just wanna
that's something.
say-
That,
Oh,
go ahead.
sorry. I just wanted to quickly say that most people don't know when stuff sounds bad.
True.
People love
Yeah.
shitty recordings all the time.
Yep.
What's Soldier Boy
Oh yeah.
was recorded on our first digital audio workstation. Is that what it stands for?
Yeah. Recorded on Mixcraft. Right?
Mixcraft.
I think he made the
And if
beat
you listen
on
to that
Fruity
mix,
Loops, but
it sounds
yeah,
like shit.
Mixcraft
But that
is
song is a bop. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? It's just like I'm talking about, OG Soldier Boy, the Soldier Boy song, whatever it's called.
Mixcraft is basically just janky Windows garage
Yeah, look
band.
how big
Shout
that
out
was.
Mixcraft.
That sounds terrible.
Shout out Mixcraft.
Mixcraft is where we started. It has like a sample library, and one of them goes, "Welcome to Mixcraft."
So cool.
Man,
Rocks.
I'm sorry we talk so damn much.
You're fine. But to bounce off your point, like yes, having stuff for these newer bands that might be doing something like, yeah, put a couple songs on CDs. CDs are cheap as fuck nowadays because no one fucking uses them. But like I remember we would go out after, like, I literally on my Facebook memories today was Saves the Day played in the town that I'm from. So me and my friend went. We didn't go to the show, but we went afterwards and stood outside, handed out CDs with some of their tracks and a sticker in like the fold too. So like it was like, hey, check out our band, and
That's
just hawking them.
awesome. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
We used to put our CDs in like the shitty paper jackets, and
That's what we had.
I would draw little pictures on all of them, and just like I still find a few of them floating around the house. I'm like, oh, I remember that.
We would go to like shows from bigger bands. Like bigger bands would come through on tour. And we
We're having
would
a moment. Leave us alone.
we would like wait for them, and we would hand them our CD when they came out to like go back to their van.
I handed a Paper Space CD to Julian from the Strokes,
Hell yeah.
and it was the really old shitty shit. Yeah.
We did the
You gotta
same
do
thing.
that
We
shameless shit though. You gotta do
Yeah.
that shameless shit to start. It's like
followed it was oh shit. It was Candy Hearts, I'm gonna blank Seaway, and I'm gonna blank on everyone on that. It was basically like a 4-band tour package that started in the Midwest. So we went to the first 4 dates.
Yeah.
And just like hawk CDs outside. Like they felt bad for us, so they got us tickets for like one of the shows, which was kind of cool. But like, it was just cool just to like be out there and just like they could tell that we were like grinding too. So like we'd be like, "Do you guys want a CD of ours?" And they were like, "Yeah." And then I just remember like we watched them just kind of like throw it in, like add it to the collection of CDs that people had given them.
already had
Like,
Oh,
they're like they at least got it. Like whether they listened to it or not, like we at least got it into their hands.
I remember you telling me when you gave Julian the copy of the CD, he like put it on a giant, like tall tower of CDs that other people gave.
And I remember he said, "I'll listen to it by the fire," which is really nice. But I think of
Probably threw it in after he was done.
I mean, it happens though, it
Yeah.
happens. That's sometimes you'll get listened to, and it's dope.
But it's all part of the journey. Like at least getting out there and like doing something rather than like I feel like the hardest thing with watching everyone do stuff on TikTok. I get that that's the way to do it now, but like I miss the days of just like being at a show and walking out and then someone handing you like a flyer for a show or
Yeah.
handing you something of like, hey, here's my band, we're doing this. Like I miss those days.
literally same. Yeah.
I will say too about the TikTokification of music. I feel like
Their video essay.
yeah, this is my. You could clip this and turn it into the video essay. So I think, especially too with the fact that like this album we're coming out with is it's intended to be listened to in one full sitting. I feel like in a lot of ways that's not really what is being looked for these days, because of TikTok and like short form content, people are kind of looking for that track that they can use like really quickly and just basically like single material. Um, and I don't really give a fuck about that necessarily. Like I'm happy with the I still very much believe in the idea of an album that's meant to be like listened to all the way through. And obviously the tracks can be listened to individually on their own, but I feel like I feel like uh I feel like TikTok and other platforms are kind of like choking that sort of creative output.
It black pills me so much when I think about having to like force either of these dudes to have to make a TikTok video. Like fuck that.
Yeah.
I was
That.
I was sitting here thinking about what I was gonna say, and I was thinking, at first I was gonna say, like stubbornly, I never want to make a TikTok being like, this emo riff is awesome or something, you know. Pav, you write an awesome emo riff. But I was just thinking about it, and it'd be really funny to be like, Pav, you're warming up for guitar practice, and then it's just like some audio of someone shredding, and you're just like playing really shitty, and just like. And so if anybody knows, they know, and maybe we should do TikTok.
Dude, if we made a TikTok and it's just like fucking horrible low effort content, and it's just meme shit.
Yeah, because like there's two routes in TikTok. It's either you do high production stuff and like people find you that way, or you do low quality effort memes and you blow up that way. Like if you do it down the middle, no one's gonna give a shit. But if you do either one of those, you got it.
If there's any type of content we know, it's low quality, low effort.
Yes. Surely.
That's true.
Our friend Ben Line, shout out Ben Line.
Shut up, Benjamin Joel Line.
Benjamin Joel Line.
He's the king of low quality, low effort.
He doesn't have his work on any social media, so you can't find him. But like, he's
Shout
our
out
homie.
Benji. I love you.
Shout out, Ben.
Hell yeah.
Jumping back into this record real quick, mainly because I think I saw a post about, every time you post the album artwork, Instagram thinks it's AI artwork. Like,
Yeah.
What's the idea or like behind this? Because like you look at it and you're like, okay, Paperspace, album's called Deathlike, and you see this face, and then you listen to the music, and it does like in my mind, I'm expecting like almost like heavy grindcore looking at the picture, and then it's you guys instead, and you're just like, this doesn't match up. Like, how did that idea
We
come
were
about?
literally
We
talking
were
about
talking about this last night. Yeah. I love that. That's the subversion of expectations, I feel like, is great. I really love to hear you say that, because that's actually like, I don't know. I fuck with that. I fuck with the whole concept of like, yeah, you think it's gonna be something else, and then it's completely different. But on the other hand too, I also feel like so I did the artwork. It is not AI.
Yeah,
It
just
is-
for the record,
for the
it's
record,
not AI.
It is it's
Meta
Yeah,
is
it's
trying to
Clay
slander
Eye,
us.
yeah.
Meta is Clay Eye. That's
Yeah,
funny.
I'm
Meta
not
is
gonna steal that joke.
Meta is trying to slander us. On one hand, I think it's a hilarious read. Like it's
Yeah.
fucking funny.
That is not. It is.
But it's not AI.
It is
have
not
pictures.
AI.
I have pictures of the clay guy.
I have
Max
him.
making it.
I
I can
should've-
prove to you.
I could
that
go
it's-
get him right now. But no, I did the art. I made that sculpture out of disgusting fleshy clay I found at Michael's. Shout out Michael's.
Shout out, Mike.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of my art is just disgusting for the sake of being disgusting, but this also kind of, it has a message to it, and I don't know if you had any like questions or anything about the general concept of the record, but it ties into that. So
Oh, I know you had mentioned it's a concept album. I guess I didn't fully listening through. I don't know if I just didn't hit that many listens to get the concept. So if you want to go through it for people that might not be at that point, too, feel free.
sure, yeah.
What's that?
I feel like you shouldn't spoil it.
I've been telling people.
Yeah, it's a little.
You can say as much as you want. Obviously, there's no pressure on anything.
Well, okay, I'll just say the record itself is loosely based on a real person who became a quad amputee like in his like 40s, and he already had a wife and a son and everything, and there's a documentary on YouTube about it. I watched it. I cried about it for like 2 weeks, and then I started writing all these songs about it, and it kind of follows the story following that, because on the one hand it's like he got sick, he lost his arms and legs and part of his face, and I'm like, holy shit, that's horrible, because I have irrational fear. Like, it's not even an irrational fear, I feel like it's a very irrational fear, because like I our 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 like obviously, like, our bodies are things we take for granted all the time, but even deeper than that, our appendages are fucking like, I don't know what I would do if I lost my arms tomorrow, like,
Right.
Yeah.
well, or my legs or some my mobility, anything. I don't know what I would do. Like, that's horrible. But the thing that was intensely beautiful about the documentary was that when it all came down to it, his wife stuck with him, and it brought him closer together with his family. And even though he's had reconstructive surgery, he's a quad amputee, he's learning to live with his his new life, basically. He comes out of it basically saying, like, I'm the happiest that I've ever been as a person. And it's like, that is so beautiful. Like, this is so fucked but so beautiful at the same time. And like, I that and shout out to Hunter too, my girlfriend. She's the one who made me watch that. I was like, well, she just put it on YouTube while we were eating, and I watched it. I was fucking, tears were streaming down my face while eating McDonald's or something, and fucking like, I was like, damn, that's so good, and it sat with me for a long time, and I was just like, I just I'm really into concept records. I love In the Aeroplane Over the Sea by Neutral Milk Hotel. I love The Party by Andy Schaaf is another great record. I
Two records that made us.
Yeah, wore that shit out. And I was like, that's like the dream. I want to make a concept record, and it hit me. I was like, that is like a great concept. That's like a good story. So I kind of wrote all these. I wrote a majority of the songs loosely around that um story that was told in the documentary, and then some of them were songs I had already written that I kind of either like reworked to fit in the narrative, or I felt like they were good enough on their own that they could like fit in. You could get their own interpretation out of it, and so coming back to the album artwork, the artwork itself actually has a meaning. Like, it's not just a fucked up face for the sake of being a fucked up face. It's kind of like symbolic of like, because and I'm not being in poor taste, like, he mentions this in the film, um kind of just feeling like a ball of flesh that can't do anything, and the reason it's like a splat, it's like it's been thrown into the situation, and the glass shattering behind it kind of symbolizes like the shattering of the life that he used to live, and stuff like that. So it kind of all ties together.
And I kind of like that, like, yeah, this record's a concept album for sure. And we haven't been super like we've been pretty open about that.
This is probably the most I've gone into it.
This is the most we've got
Yeah,
into it for
public,
sure.
yeah.
Yeah. We've been kind of open about it. The stuff that I've been like telling people when we've been like sending it to folks and stuff. Um, it's one of those things for sure. Like, I'm glad that you said that it didn't immediately like. I think that it's something that could definitely be interpreted as not that, and that you can enjoy all of these songs for their own merit without knowing what
That
the
was
concept
definitely the
is.
goal too. I
Yes,
wanted to be
exactly.
like, you could
Like,
listen to it without knowing the
yes,
concept and still get whatever you feel like out of
it's
the song.
there if you like want to interpret it
Yeah.
that way, and it's like a pretty apparent if you wanted to interpret it that way. But it's also just at the end of the day, just kind of an album about like resilience and about like getting through hard times
Yep.
and like the importance of unconditional love and stuff like that. And just we find a lot of it, or at least me and Max do, and I know Max does specifically just in his songwriting, finds a lot of importance in lyrics and a lot of importance in like what the words that you are saying in a song actually mean. And I know that like I don't know. I think it's just it's one of those things. It can be interpreted one way or the other. It doesn't have to be, you don't have to listen to it with the intention of like, oh, it being a concept album. But like, yeah, that is what it is, and yeah, I don't know. I don't know where else I'm going with that, to be honest. But yeah.
I think that was good.
Yeah.
That was good. That was
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, like I feel like though too for like every album that I listen to, like it or anyone listens to, you're like 1 to 5 listens of just like trying to understand it, maybe get past like the instrumentals, and then it's usually like 6 through whatever that you like start to listen to the lyrics and like fully understand what's going on. And I think I just need, once people get to that spot, they might give that as a concept album. It's amazing that you decided to do that, and then tie it in with the album artwork instead of just being like, oh, this is just a crazy face for whatever. But that's very commendable of you guys to do a full concept based on this and like tie it all together.
And just like we love concept albums. I mean, as
Oh, yeah.
as we mentioned before multiple times, we love Pink Floyd.
The Wall, yeah. Shout out to the Wall.
Yes. Me and Max specifically, our favorite band is the Mountain Goats.
Yeah.
And like every single one of that motherfucker's records is a concept album
In some way.
in some way, shape, or form. I love Coheed and Cambria, so I love concept records. Like it's just something, I don't know. It's something that we've always kind of wanted to do it. And it didn't come out like, I don't know. The intention, I think, wasn't necessarily to write a concept album. It's just like Max had something that affected him super deeply and that he needed to get out there. And that's just kind of what ended up
I wanted to
happening.
write a concept record for sure.
Yeah, maybe. But
Well, sorry, go ahead.
You agree with the Modelos?
Yeah, it's still the third. I'm about like almost done with the
let's
third.
go.
Fuck yeah.
It'll happen. Like I'm already know the exact moment where I'm gonna crack the 4th one, and we're gonna get there. So obviously, like we've kind of talked about, been a band for 10 years. This second LP. In that time, like we kind of mentioned earlier, is things are starting to come a little bit more fluid, a little bit faster as to writing and everything. So not to get too far ahead of ourselves, but what is the future looking like for Paper Space?
Max already has like 15 new songs.
Yeah, earlier I was
It's like last time.
the genius of GarageBand and how I'm completely mesmerized by the fact that I can record. I got this. I don't even have it down here, but I got this little dongle thing you can like plug a 1/4 inch into, so you can just plug in like a mic and a guitar and a bass, and you can make. I mean, I don't have to explain it.
Genuinely amazed
you
by
can make
basic technology.
Make whole songs and then listen back to them in real time, and you can sing and fucking do your harmonies and all this stuff. And like, I've just been doing that for the past few months now, just like cranking out a bunch of songs and duh. And yeah, it's been crazy. Like, just like I said, just the fact that you can do that, like write songs and listen back to them in real time. I'm like, oh, I don't like this. You could like move it around and shit. I just am mesmerized by that. The fact that you can do that is insane. I saw on a little iPad, and I've just been writing all these little songs. We've been jamming on them, and yeah, it's looking like pretty much after this comes out, we can just start working on a new album whenever we want. I mean, there's plenty of material now.
I just want to say Les Pauls and Overdrive.
That is the future of Paper Space. Les Pauls, Gibson Les Pauls, and Overdrive.
We used to be a very jazz master Jaguar band. But we're turning into Les Pauls and Overdrive now. It's gonna.
We've been Fender boys for a long
Gonna
time.
be a little more rock and roll.
We've
this
switched
time
over.
around.
We've crossed the threshold, and now Gibson Les Pauls, Boss Blues Driver.
Yeah.
And that's our sound now. The next Paper Space thing, so Deathlike is very much just like a lot of stuff, a lot of different influences coalesced into one thing. Mostly like I think at the time, just stylistically, we were very much influenced by like Max specifically was very much influenced by like Andy Schaaf the Part,
Yeah.
but also Mac DeMarco,
Mac DeMarco for sure. I got really
that the slacker rock,
the,
kind of psychish kind of thing.
the chorus guitar. I was like, I need that in my life.
Yeah, so there's a lot of
Got a
that
chorus
on
pedal.
Deathlike. There's a lot of that on Deathlike in the same way that there's a lot of like the Mountain Goats and New
But
Trip
yeah, no,
on the first record.
the
New shit that we're working on though, Max. We're going full dad rock pretty much.
Yeah.
Like basically, we might as well just be a band pulled out of the '70s. That's where we're at.
do you know ELO, Electric Light Orchestra?
It's not ringing a bell.
Oh, bro.
You've definitely heard them at one point or another. They're in like movies and like commercials and stuff all the time. But like they're one of my favorite bands of all time. Me and Miles actually just saw them the other weekend, and it was fantastic. And love that shit. And I feel like I'm definitely pivoting more in that direction. But it's also like it's heavier too. It's not full on like dad rock. I feel like we were embracing some of that in this release, but the newer stuff going forward is definitely a little bit more heavier, more distortion. There's some dad rock elements. There's even a direct references to Electric Light Orchestra.
I think we're gonna be spearheading a whole ass dad rock revival.
Oh yeah.
I think that's the future of us for sure. That's our future for sure.
We're heavily influenced by like Greta Van Fleet.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's real.
yeah, love them.
Well, I'm stoked to see what the future looks like, and hopefully we don't have to wait another, 5 years for a record.
I hope so too, brother. I hope so
I hope
too.
not.
Well, yeah. Hopefully we don't, and I'm stoked to see what the next iteration of Paperspace looks like when we get there. I know we've kind of jumped around between Paperspace, the album, and just kind of like everything in between. But is there anything that I might have missed between Paperspace, Deathlike, that you want people to know about?
I just want to say, like, if you fuck with us and like you're listening to us and you're listening to this and you're this far in this episode, like, thanks.
Thank
For
you
real.
the three of you.
Yeah, rock on, cause like, dude, yeah. I mean, we make art. We make music specifically because the three of us love to work together, and this is a partnership that's been going on for literally 10 years. We wouldn't be doing this now if we didn't love it, and yeah, we just love creating together. We love being in a room together, making music, making songs, recording them, playing them, drinking. The whole like point of this is just like we're doing all of this for us pretty much, and like the fact that people, even if it's modest, whatever, like the fact that anyone gives a shit at all is like awesome, and I just think I don't know, it means a lot to us, and yeah, so if you fuck with the album and if you fuck with us and you fuck with this, like, thanks. And yeah, like, hopefully you stick around and keep following the Paperspace journey, and yeah,
Yeah, I'd just like to thank you again
For
your
real.
patience and your interest, and for anybody for any sort of interest or I just think, yeah, what you're doing, people like you who do sound, who make flyers, who do videos, anything like that, that's the part of the scene that nobody even thinks exists.
You make this world go round.
yes,
You
literally,
certainly do.
for real.
And, yeah, thanks for, yeah, you're a good listener.
Yeah, thank
I
you for
couldn't
being
do
a
it.
good listener.
I
All
couldn't
of
do
our
what you
fucking
do. Couldn't do it.
scatterbrained fucking craziness. I don't know if, like, I'm sure you go through it all with all the bands that you talk to, but yeah, I know we're a particularly scatterbrained bunch. So thank you for real for listening.
No, I can handle it. I remember specifically one time I was sitting down with this band, and this guy like went on this whole tangent, and I basically like kind of reiterated it and like kind of bounced off his like tangent into like this question, and one of the band members just goes, "How the fuck do you do that?" Like, how'd you follow that and then still
skill.
go from there?
It is,
and
dude.
I'm like, it's my job technically. Like, I
Yeah.
gotta be paying attention.
For real.
I wanted to ask real quick, how long you been doing this, and how'd you get into this?
So I just
Flip it
hit
on
5
you.
years.
Nice.
Wow, that's
Uh,
awesome.
Yeah, but basically this started because me and a buddy that he used to sing in a band called Exit Emergency, and I toured with them. We went to high school together. Basically, we stopped. That band ended, and we kind of missed hanging out with all of our friends that we met along our journeys. And we would tell each other that, like, every time we were together, we would like be drinking and telling each other our tour stories. And I'd be like, Brian, we were in the van together, so like we need to go and like visit our friends again. So we started the podcast together, but we lived too far away from each other to fully keep it going. So I basically took it and ran with it. And he's off doing, like, he's still doing music and stuff like that. So it's been a fun 5 years.
It's just cool. It's like I could, see running into you at any local show, and we're all over America doing this same shit. We've all got our little band tees and our little CDs that we would make and all that stuff.
Yes, dude.
It's cool how universal this is.
Yeah, it's
in the
all
most-
shared
Yeah.
experience. For
a
sure.
universal niche. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's very cool, and it's cool that you've been keeping up with it. And I don't know, you're doing a great job. I just want to say that.
Thank you, dude. Yeah, and this has
Thank
been
you.
a very easy conversation. I think I could speak for all three of us that like we're
Not awkward.
not yeah. It's hard. We find it hard to talk to people sometimes, and so like this has just been a very easy conversation. Thanks for Curtis is the social bug in our but anyway, yeah, no fuck. Thank you for real for like having us on this and stuff. And this is
Of course, we're not done. We're not done yet. By the way,
also-
like we
I
still
also
fuck
just-
several.
I'm
Yeah.
chill with Cohen
Just
for
while
however
this is
long you want to
popping
go.
in my head, I want to give you. You're the man. Are you playing any music right now? Do you still play music?
So I never played anything. I tried to learn bass at one point, and then just like I tried to learn bass, but like it was because it was almost needed for a tour, and I just like wasn't. I was too impatient with it. Like if I probably would have sat down and like learned it, I would have been fine. But it was more like I needed to learn this like now, and why am I not good now? So like I was just like, fuck it, I'll just stay behind the scenes. So I was like merged, TM'd, and then there's a couple times where I did like
you mentioned you toured, so I was like,
Yeah.
I figured, yeah. But you're that guy, dude. You're that guy who everybody needs. It's awesome.
Everyone needs that guy.
Yeah, you-
Absolutely.
You're the true, the glue.
The glue,
The glue.
glue with bands.
yeah. I definitely miss those days. It's been a long time since I've been in a van with other sweaty, smelly dudes, and I miss it every day.
Oh, dude.
Man,
But
we
enough
have
sad times. This is Beers with Bands. You don't have to be
Yeah.
drinking on these episodes because I will definitely do that for you. But I know the three of you have some fine bevies in front of you. What are you drinking on this fine Saturday?
bro, we're all drinking Captain Morgan and cola, baby.
Hell yeah.
Captain
Fuck
Morgan
yeah.
and Cola, yeah. This is like every weekend for at least me and Max.
Well, I discovered Captain Morgan because like during the pandemic, me and my friend Benjamin Joel Line, we
I
would get,
mentioned earlier,
yes,
Mr. Benjamin
we,
Joel Line.
we would get together every weekend and we would just drink and we would kill bottles of liquor. And there was this one in particular that I had to ban from my household for reasons I'm not going to delve into it too much. But we found this liquor called Old Granddad. Do you guys have Old Granddad?
I've never heard of it, but the name scares me already.
Okay, so it's this bottle, and it's got this fucking cork. You pull the cork out, it goes thunk, and it's got a picture of an old man on the front of it. And the most noticeable thing about it, I think Mile left to go find it. It is 100. I think it's in the fridge in the garage. It is 114 proof. So
Holy shit.
that is almost 50% alcohol. And me and Ben would kill a bottle of it. And yeah, you absolutely. and we would kill a bottle of it almost every weekend during the It's very sad. Don't do this. Oh, there we go. I said it was banned from my household, but it was
So we have some.
it turns out we have a cold bottle. And
Yeah.
yeah, we had a party recently and it was brought here and I was very upset because I said you broke the fucking rules. I can't believe you. And anyways, I back to my Captain Morgan. I found out I started getting into rums and stuff. I found Captain Morgan and I was like, wow, this doesn't actually suck to drink all that bad. So
Yeah.
now I've got everybody into Captain Morgan.
Yeah, I'm so into it.
Yeah, Captain's also my go-to for rums when I need something in the house. I'll also get Kraken. I don't know if you guys have Kraken out there.
Yeah.
Some people, some people hate on it, some people don't, but it's a nice like darker rum.
It tastes a bit too much like black licorice. Like it's got like the Jägermeister thing going on.
That's what I've heard. I don't eat licorice, but that's what the people tell me. But I just pour a little bit more in the cup and then don't even worry about it.
Based. Fuck licorice, bro. That's my official stance. I don't feel strongly about anything except fuck licorice.
I just want to point out how like lit up Max got when we're not talking about music, but we're talking about what we're drinking.
Oh yeah. And,
I've said a lot about music.
we're done with the music talk. Now let's talk about our pattern of divulging into alcohol.
Calling me out on drinking.
If I had any rum in the house, I would also join you guys in a rum and coke. But
dude.
I finished my bottles of rum, and I think I finished the last bottle of whiskey that I would willingly drink. I'm not a whiskey guy, so all I have left is Jack Daniels that someone left here, and that'll probably never get touched.
I'm not drinking that Granddad. I'm not gonna do
No,
it.
I brought it for the
swig of
meme
right now, but
we're
I'm
not
gonna
drinking
do that.
it. If I'm for me personally, if I'm not taking shots at Captain with the boys, I'm making me some Moscow mules because I don't mind with any
mule fiend.
Yeah. But yeah, no, that's me personally.
Yeah.
I honestly, the first couple shots of Captain are like, but then after that, it's fucked up. It's
Yeah. I've had it where I've done a couple like in-person episodes here at the house, and people have brought over, like the most recent one that I did, they brought over a 30 rack of Busch Light and a bottle of Jim Beam. So we killed the 30 rack, and then also we're passing around a bottle of Jim Beam. We ended up wildly recording for like 4 hours. It was crazy. I had to cut so much. That sucked.
Dude, yeah.
You ever have anybody vomit during an episode?
No. If they do, they're usually pretty good about being like, "Oh, I need to go use the bathroom," and then like not knowing about it. So no one's ever thrown up. There was one episode. This is like an earlier episode too. These guys had come over. They brought over like a handle. Like we were having a good time, and literally, I forgot, like, I had taken some sort of medication because, like, I had a fucked up, like my ear was fucked up, like, and everything. So it was just more, like, not, like, crazy medication, but I remember specifically they left, I shut the door, like, said bye to them, shut the door, turned around, started walking, like, through my living room, and then just, like in a movie, just, like, fell over. And I was just like, what the fuck is going on? But it like timed perfectly where after they left, then I felt it all.
Man. Well, I hope somebody voms on the show soon because that'll be good content.
Just not in my house. That's like the biggest, not on the carpet.
Like exactly how this is set up right now. They have to vom in their own house for sure.
Yeah. Do you want to be the one?
No.
Okay.
I'm so worried that it might get there, but I think we're fine.
Yeah.
I've only had a couple incidents in my entire life, so.
Same here. Yeah, it's never really, that doesn't really happen to me a whole lot.
I had to ban Granddad for
those reasons.
It's fair.
Yeah.
Well, that's the beer drink segment for this episode. Now we're going to transition to one of my favorite parts of these episodes, and really the reason that these podcasts fully exist is where we kind of talk about some some stories from your guys' time in music, whether they're shows, tours, time recording. As I normally say, they can be anything horrendous to tremendous or any adjective in between. Think about the stories that you always reminisce about with your friends. Those are usually the best stories that everyone loves to hear. And I can already tell that there's probably some wild stories in here just from what we've glimpsed at so far in this episode.
Yeah, let's Kurt start. Well,
We played a show at this place called the Gypsy Shack in Sonora, California. And there was a dude during it wasn't during our set, it was during one of our friends' sets, who there was like a balcony area. And he was like gonna jump from the second floor balcony like into the crowd.
this wasn't like a dude who was like there for the music, like having fun. This was a homie who was like,
Yeah, and then the owner of the Gypsy Shack was this like 7 foot tall like Viking of a man named Chris. Shout out to Chris. I don't know what he's
yeah,
doing
wherever
now.
you are now.
Yeah, but he there was a full band like playing, and he came up and he started yelling at the dude, and his yelling was like louder than the band, and he was like, "Get the fuck down!" And it's like probably not the best choice of words for a guy who's trying to jump from the balcony. But yeah, he like the guy came downstairs and he got like thrown out, and it was pretty crazy. And then there was another time at the Gypsy Shack, they moved locations. They moved locations, and like these guys just started like fighting and like rolling around on the floor. And then I learned later that it was less of a fight and more of like an attack. Like the dude that started fighting the other guy, he thought he was like he thought he was fighting someone that he like knew, but he wasn't. He just attacked some random guy. He was the guy that he attacked was like, "Why did you do that, man?" It was insane. It was pure insanity. I don't know if you were gonna recount one of those.
No, I don't remember that at all. I don't remember.
10 years of being a band. There's so many
I was just
stories.
gonna
Yeah.
mention there's a little like self-indulgent story time is Miles' birthday parties, which would be in this living room that we're sitting in. And we're just in like a nice ass normal house. Like you see those houses that are like 2 stories tall and they like don't have like any space between the houses, you know, those little communities of modern houses. And we would just throw like 6 band lineup parties in this house. And just I remember it's nothing that crazy, but it was just the first time I've ever been crowd surfed was in this living room just
That's
by
sick.
by like 50 people. It was
Shout out mom and dad
For our fucking parents for letting that happen here. Fucking yeah, I guess I could expand on that. Yeah, like every year for my birthday, I used to throw shows here in my house in Waterford, California. And
What's the
It would be-
address? Just kidding. Just fucking with you.
123 street
What
street
street.
Yeah.
Fucking I would throw shows here, and it would be like pretty much my birthday falls like right after Thanksgiving. So it would be like pretty much everyone's last show for the year. Not a whole lot happening in like December. So like pretty much everyone's like last show, but I would have all basically like the local bands, yeah, like Kurt said, like 6, 7 lineup fucking shows in my living room in my parents' house.
Yeah.
Fucking the last one
It
was
got scary.
it
The
got
last one
scary.
got
I did them for
scary.
a number of years. I haven't done them since 2019. Because the last one that happened, there were literally 80 people crammed
Yeah.
in my house, in this living room.
There was so many people in here. The windows were all fogged up.
Fogged up.
and,
We ran out of water, and I
ran
had
out
to
of
be like,
water.
"You gotta drink out of the sink, bro. I don't know what to tell you."
I found cigarette butts in the carpet.
Cigarette butts in the carpet type shit, and it's
Yeah,
like,
and
this
the-
is my parents' house, bro. Come on. But anyway, like whatever.
That was the drunkest I've ever been to play a Paper Space set.
But we used to, yeah, and fucking just, I don't know, man. Like, it was just crazy. The fact that like we would throw these shows and so many people would come out, it would be like
Remarkably, the cops were never called.
cops were never
That-
called.
That's amazing.
internal security and the gated community that we live in would come around and be like, all right, once
they
it's
were
like 11
actually-
o'clock, you guys gotta
They were
whatever,
chill
but-
about it. They were like, "Hey, it's
Yeah.
really cool you guys are doing this," and we were
No,
like,
and
"We
everyone
always
was-
killed it before like 11." So like we never had the cops called on us, but it was loud. It was
It's just very cool. It's just cool to have.
honestly, it is kind
And
of
this was all just because like it was all for my birthday. Like these were my birthday shows.
Yeah.
I like always just famously throughout my life had just have like really awful birthdays. And so like once I got into some kind of local scene where I was like friends with everybody and friends with all the bands, had a band that was doing stuff, I always just like, this is what I wanted to do for my birthday. So just have people come into my house and just play sets and shit and just like, it was awesome.
It
It's
is
just an
kind
awesome
of-
way to celebrate.
yeah,
Celebrate my
and
birthday,
It's
you know?
remarkable also to say that like some of the fattest shows I've ever played / been to, and also some of the fattest house parties I've ever been to have been in our own house.
Yeah, literally our
Pretty-
house.
That's
Yeah.
pretty crazy.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. It will. I always say like maybe it will return one day. Probably won't. But this is it's a fun thing to reminisce on and remember. So yeah, shout out sad gay birthday. that was it.
I will say a crazy story, not really a crazy story necessarily, but we did a weekender kind of like mini tour where we played in the Bay Area for like 3 days, and on that tour we the four of us because our drummer Stevie, who cannot be here again, shout out Stevie,
Shout out Stevie.
he had the van and he was the driver. We smoked so much weed on that tour, like in the van, just driving down the freeway. Like he was like,
Don't do this.
smoking.
Don't
joints,
do
passing
this.
them around. We got so stoned on that tour that like I I wish I remembered more.
There's lots of those stories of just us like being at shows and just like smoking so much weed that we don't remember the show.
Now Stevie was
Or
on
getting
another
fucked
level
up.
back then though. He would smoke joints in the van, then he'd be walking around. He'd have like carts and shit. And like, I mean, weed is legal here, so it's just like everywhere. Like,
Right.
walk into a store and go get some.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's legal in Minnesota. Stores
Cool.
don't open until the 1st of January, but it got legalized
also
last year.
recently legal.
Yeah.
Whoa. Okay, yeah. So it's been legal here for like a number of years. So like,
Yeah.
yeah, no, fucking obviously don't drive down
No,
the freeway
no,
smoking.
Not smart.
Admitting
So-
to literal crimes on this podcast. But yeah,
I
it's-
remember-
5 years ago.
I remember. So our friends that we had met in, I mean, their band's not really around anymore, but they have some sick music out, so everyone should listen to them anyways. So I'm gonna fucking name drop at least the band. It's a band called Centerfolds from Richmond, Virginia. Fucking listen to them. But they played a show in the Quad Cities when I was still living in Iowa, and they came back to our friend's trailer, like we were having an after party, and I watched one of their members, who's a pretty decent friend of mine, sit there and like roll up like 3 joints and like pack a couple bowls. Like he had not like a normal mason jar. He had like a full jar that like fucking clamps shut, like, but it was fucking huge, just full of weed the entire time. So I watched him just lay all these blunts out and like these bowls, and I thought he was gonna like pass some around. No, that dude just like fucking chiefed them and just killed them all himself. And I was like, holy shit, like what the fuck? Like props, because like I would have been zooted in the sky, and
yeah.
he was still just coherent and just like chilling and hanging out with us at the table as we're all like drinking games and stuff. And I was like, what the fuck is going on? What have I done with my life?
yeah, dude.
We used to very much be a stoner band. I feel like it was a very big weed culture surrounding our shows.
Well, yeah, I mean, being in California and like house shows and stuff like that, like everyone's fucking smoking weed and like,
Yeah.
There was a couple shows they lit up joints on stage and just passed them in
oh
the
yeah,
crowd.
shout out to our homie Seth Jacks from Stockton.
Oh,
Fucking
yeah.
like real quick, our drummer Stevie,
Oh,
used to
yeah.
throw house shows, similar to my sad gay birthdays. but like it was more like throughout the year. It was an actual like he would throw shows at his place type shit.
He still has
Um,
the handle too. It's not
Shout out not so secret shows.
Yes.
Shout out not so secret shows, but yeah.
Follow
he used
them
to
on
throw
IG.
shows at his house in Patterson, California. And yeah, we would just like if they were sometimes they would be inside in his house, sometimes they would be outside. He would throw straight up fests, like
Yeah,
15
stages.
band fests in his like
Jeez.
inside of his house and just in his backyard. And like yeah, we just there was a few shows that we played outside where yeah, fucking our homie Seth from Stockton just rolling blunts in the middle of our set, and just like he's doing sound too. He's a good sound guy, so he does sound for all the Stockton shit, like the hardcore scene that we talked about earlier. He does sound for all of that now. But he would be doing sound for all these shows, and he'd just be rolling blunts in the middle of these sets and just
Dude,
passing
that
them around.
is-
So like Max gets passed a blunt while he's playing a fucking set and just fucking
There's
passing
a
it
lot
around.
of weed flying around.
Lots of weed flying around. All of us are not weed smokers now. We've
I-
quit.
Quit like
We've
over a
all
year and
quit.
a half ago.
But
I don't do drugs.
yeah, Curtis does not do drugs, just so everyone knows. But yeah, just lots of weed stories. Lots of stories of getting fucked up.
Yeah.
If you could believe it.
If you can believe it, old granddad showing up at all these shows.
I'll have to see if I could find that at a liquor store. I've never heard of it. I don't
Dude,
think I've ever seen it.
I
now I
can't
kind of just
recommend it.
I kind of just want to. I kind of like. I probably shouldn't try it at my age, but I kind of want to try it.
Maybe, yeah, just once.
I mean, I've survived like Hawkeye vodka, which is like
Wait,
the shittiest vodka that just comes in like the handles are just plastic because they know just college kids are going to buy them because they're so cheap and just
Yeah.
such great alcohol.
dude. Okay, actually, hold on, a little tangent for a second. These used to be made out of glass, and they're not anymore. They're made out of plastic. They used to be glass with a handle, and I can't find
Oh,
the
yeah.
glass ones anymore. And I heard it was because they've been getting broken too much, and they've been losing too much money, so they just decided to make them plastic. I say fuck that. I miss the glass. I miss the handle.
Bring back the glass.
I swear the last bottle. Granted, I only buy like, because that's probably what a handle. I bought like the fifth. Now those are still in glass. Granted, like the little small 750
The
milliliters.
the smaller ones.
Those are plastics. I'll have to see if I can find like a glass handle next time I go to the store.
Oh, here, wait, hold on. I talked about the sound earlier. You gotta hold this microphone for a second.
Did you hear that?
Nice.
That sounded
Yeah.
like the beginning of that Dinosaur Jr. song.
Hell yeah.
No, yeah, those are all great stories. I recently also had a bottle that had like a fucking cork top to it, and it just felt like I was just like, didn't feel right, but all the same, like it was also
Like
yeah,
Captain Jack Sparrow.
right. Honestly, I literally in the last like 2 weeks, I watched all 5 Pirates of the Caribbean movies
Yeah.
Dude,
because I was that bored. It really drops off after 3. Could have left it
Yeah.
at 2.
those
Um,
rock though.
It's been
Yeah.
a fat minute since I've seen any of it.
Pretty fire.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah, that first one is good.
Yeah. The 5th one when they came back, there was a chance for like, or we could see where it could go, but then like 4 I think was that really tangent off one.
Yeah.
3 was good, because it continued
With the octopus guys. That's 2?
That's 2.
yeah, that's
think
2
it was
and
3.
then 2 and 3.
That one,
Because 2 and 3 are 1 and 2 parters, and then 4 is like a side quest, and then 5 kind of brings us back. It's a whole thing. We could have left off at 4, like not even done 4, done 5, called it good. But they're supposed to be apparently rebooting that at some point because money.
Do you
Bruh.
do you fuck with Sweeney Todd?
I've never seen it. I've wanted to watch it, but I've never seen it.
It's good. You should watch it.
It's
Johnny,
good.
Johnny Depp sings in it, and so does Alan Rickman. It's good.
Because like as shitty as like he has been, I watched a lot of his original stuff, like all the fucking 21 Jump Street like TV show. I binged
Yeah.
all of those original episodes because they're
Funny-
fucking good.
So, like, obviously, there's a lot of controversy about Johnny Depp right now, but our mom is like One of those Johnny Depp moms who like
Yeah.
every mom ever who like loves
Yeah.
Johnny Depp.
Little children, I remember.
So like
love
we
Johnny.
grew up on Johnny Depp movies just
Yeah.
because my mom liked watching.
No,
So like it's funny to think about now just because of all the controversy. And
Sweeney
stuff.
Todd is
Right.
really good.
Sweeney
though.
Todd is actually
He's
super good, yeah.
remarkably a good singer.
No, yeah, he kills it.
Yeah, he
Shit.
He pictures himself more of a musician.
He was a rocker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was a rocker. Yeah. Yeah.
It's a good movie.
But
Have you seen
You
that
know-
video of him just butchering a guitar solo?
He sucks.
I don't think
Shit's
so.
hilarious. Shit's hilarious. Yeah, yeah. He actually kind of sucks at guitar, which is funny.
Have you seen the video of oh fuck, what's his name? He was mouthing the Goonies. He's on tour with Limp Bizkit right now.
Oh,
Corey Feldman. Corey Feldman.
Yeah, yeah.
He's butchering a guitar solo like super bad.
Did you hear people were saying that he's faking playing guitar?
Yeah, so
People think he's
there was
faking it.
I can
there was there's talks of that.
Too.
And
I
then
love
Limp
it.
Bizkit went out there, like Fred Durst from Limp Bizkit went out and was like, "No, like it's him." Like,
Well, if you were gonna fake playing guitar, why would you fake it so shitty?
yeah,
He's not actually playing that. That's coming out of the PA. It's like, dude, it sucks. Like, yeah, he's
Why would
playing
you-
it for
Why would you
sure.
make yourself really good if you were gonna fake it?
right. Oh my god, I kind of so that tour came through like the Twin Cities area, and I had some friends that went to it, and like I kind of wish I went to it just to experience. Like one, I haven't seen Limp Bizkit in live ever, which would be cool. But like to say you've at least seen Corey Feldman live and experienced that in your life, I feel like that's like that gets you like extra health points, right? I don't know.
Dude. Totally. He is awesome, dude. He is awesome.
Funny as fuck.
Watch his music videos if you haven't.
Dude.
They're cool.
What I like about him though is that he was like, when people were saying he's faking it, he's like, "Nah, dude, I suck. What are you?"
Yeah, he was owning it.
It's like, dude,
Yeah,
obviously he has a really big ego, but he like owns the fact that he's not very good at guitar. I'm like, I gotta respect that at least a little.
Yeah.
I respect all of it.
Totally. Love him. Love Corey Feldman.
I hope this doesn't age poorly.
This might age poorly, but as of right now, in September
see.
2024, he rocks and we love him.
you know what else rocks and I really love?
It's that.
Deathlike.
Hey!
Full
Fuck
circle.
yeah,
I brought it
bro.
back. I brought it back.
Dude,
Yeah,
thank
like,
you.
Dude,
Seriously,
of course.
thank
Like,
you again. I know we've talked. Thank you for all of this. Seriously, thanks for having us on. Thanks for everything that you do. Fucking Beers with Bands. Shout out Beers with Bands.
Shout out Bass with Bands.
Shout out Beers with Bands, dude.
Hell yeah.
no, but yeah, shout out to you guys. Deathlike is a solid album. I'm really stoked on it. I'm stoked for everyone to finally get to hear it when it finally drops. And like I know, obviously, I saw the plays on it, so I know a lot of homies have already listened to it, and I know that they're all stoked on it as well. Like I'm really stoked on just like not just this record, but like to see where you guys go from here. I'm really excited to see this like 70s dad like rock that you guys are going to bring on the next one possibly, and just everything that you guys have up your sleeve.
Oh, it'll be
You'll
the
be
future of
surprised.
DIY. The
You'll be
future of
surprised.
DIY is dad rock. No, dude,
Hell
we're
yeah.
we're stoked on it, and like I said, I mean, this is shit. Obviously, as we've been talking about earlier, yeah, these are songs that we've been working on for several years, man, and just like obviously been recording for so long, and like we're just stoked for people to hear it. We're stoked that it's
to move
out.
on.
And we're stoked to move on.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Oh.
And the future is looking bright for Paper Space. Yeah, man. I mean, like people like you are how this shit continues to keep going. And
Real shit.
people
Real shit.
people and like you specifically, anyone who's listening to this or watching this is why we are doing this. And
That's
we make music because we love it and because the three of us love making music together, but also it makes a difference when people actually give a fuck. And yeah, it's cool, and we appreciate everyone and all of you, and thank you, seriously, thank you.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah,
Hell
brother.
Hell yeah.
If anyone's looking for merch, music, or Paper Space in general, where can they find it?
Shit, man. So we're mostly like an Instagram band, I guess. Paper Space, What's our actual at?
Paperspace CA.
Paperspace
all
CA,
lowercase.
pretty much on everything. Paperspace CA, all lowercase.
Paperspace.bandcamp.com.
Yep. We're on Spotify. We're on Bandcamp. We're on SoundCloud. We're on Tidal. We're on Apple Music. Like
YouTube.
all of the shit. We also have a.
Well,
We are on YouTube. We are on YouTube. There is a YouTube channel. Not a whole lot
so
there.
sketchy, yeah.
YouTube's weird. There is a YouTube channel. Maybe we put stuff on there soon. I don't know. We'll see. But yeah. Fuck, I can't believe we didn't talk about the Paperspace episodes.
That's okay.
Yeah, it's fine.
We'll talk about it. We'll talk about it next time you guys come
If we come back on, yeah, for sure. We'll get into that. But yeah, no. Yeah, Paperspace CA on pretty much everything. Like any social media you go on, if you look up Paperspace, like that's it. Yeah. Thank you. And listen to Deathlike and listen to Sloom and listen to Welcome Strawberry and listen to The Flowers and
Shout
listen
out No
to
Fiona.
and listen to No Fiona and listen to everyone and our related artists. Listen to Ted Barber. Listen to Ted Barber. Listen to, did I already say The Flowers? Listen to Mox. Listen to Mired if you love hardcore. Listen to Mired. Listen to Scathe. Listen to fucking all of those bands.
Shout out.
Oh, Levi Minson. Oh my God. I can't believe we didn't get into that. But yeah, Levi Minson. Minson. All of our homies.
Von Glon.
Listen to Von Glon.
There's good music everywhere, especially here.
Yes. Listen to Birthday Dad.
Bo Daddy Harris.
Listen to Bo Daddy Harris.
Listen to all of them. Also listen to Deathlike. If you're, depending where you found this episode, whether it's Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, X, Threads, YouTube, check the hyperlink down below. Go follow Paperspace on all their socials. Be ready for new music, new shows, possible music videos or videos in general on YouTube. If we put that in there, who knows? We'll see what happens. But be ready for anything coming next from these three plus Stevie. That makes 4. One last big shout out to Paperspace for taking the time out of their Saturday to sit down with me, drink some Captain. I drank some Modelo's. We had a good time. Go listen to Deathlike, go listen to Paperspace, and I'll catch everyone on the next episode.
Thank you, homie. You're the man. We appreciate you so much. For real.
Hell yeah. See ya.
See ya, homie. Thank you.